Hey everyone, 24 hours from now, as in when I'm recording this video, Tottenham fans will be heading for White Hart Lane, or be at White Hart Lane, to lead a protest against ENIC, against Daniel Levy, against the European Super League, and so on. I guess that there will be lots of people going for lots of different reasons, all to make their voices heard. From my personal point of view, I wish you all luck, for those of you that are going. I hope that you get your message across loud and clear, and I hope that everybody comes home from that protest safe and without causing themselves any difficulties further down the line, i.e. with the police or with the club or with anybody else, and also without passing on any kind of issues with COVID and so on. I really do think it's important that the fans have their say, and I think this has probably gone on far too long for fans not really having a say and not really coming out and expressing their opinions on how the club's being run. We are a very tolerant group of supporters, generally speaking. The fact that there hasn't been fans in the stadium this season has probably helped ENIC and Levy to continue their processes the way they want to, without any kind of feedback from fans, or without any kind of dissent in any kind of way. So this is a great opportunity for people to kind of voice their views. I think it's important though to have a clear vision and reason for what you're saying. There will no doubt be media there will no doubt be YouTubers there looking for your opinions and stuff. So I think it's an important aspect to make sure that you know exactly what you're saying and why you're saying what you're saying. There is lots to be concerned about from our point of view. We've got no manager, got rid of a manager 6 days before a final. We've had no silverware. We've had one trophy in 20 years under this leadership. The owners are more interested in selling us beds and building blocks of flats and stuff like that than they are in terms of building a team that's going to challenge and do something important for the fans. Because ultimately, whilst this may be a business for them, this is a lifelong love affair for the rest of us, and nothing's more important to us than silverware. Whilst I personally have said I'm not bothered about a new stadium and I'm not bothered about fancy training facilities, I do recognise it's important to have it if you're going to attract the right kind of players and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, from a fan's point of view, that's not what's important to me. And some people may disagree with that, but I mean, that's just my opinion. And I couldn't care less about a stadium. Having a new stadium has helped me personally, because I've managed to get a season ticket because of the increased capacity. So, I can't really complain about it. But as I say, it wasn't top of my agenda when it come to things that are important about Tottenham for me. But that's what we've done. That's where we're going. And I do understand that the club and football in general has to be run as a business, otherwise you go under, because ultimately money is what drives the business forward. You've got Man City and Chelsea and clubs of that nature, Liverpool to a certain extent, Manchester United, as though they wouldn't want to say it, have all done similar. They've bought the best players and all the rest of it, and they've only been able to do that because of the investment that they've had from either their owners or from their increased revenues that they get that's better than anybody else's. So, you know, it is, you know, you can't get away from it. But at the same time, we've got to make the point that you cannot just ignore the fans. You know, we are the lifeblood of the club. You know, we are the people that are creating the next group of people by forcing our love of the club onto our children and our grandchildren and so on. So, you know, without us, it's all well and good going, oh, you know, we can watch it on the TV and there's fans all around the world and all the rest of it. But if you talk to most of those fans from around the world, the one thing they want to do is come to the stadium and cheer the team on, along with fellow supporters that have been there, that they see week in, week out when it's on the TV. So I think that's, for me, the key message is that you guys, as in Levy and ENIC and Hitchin and Cullen and all the rest of you, need to consider our opinions. You can't just ride roughshod over everybody forever. So, you know, that's kind of my view and why I think the protests are important. Others will have other agendas. They'll want different things. You know, they'll want, you know, just spend and all the rest of it. And listen, that's up to them. And I think the European Super League thing is currently dead in the water. I personally think it'll come back in some kind of guise at some point, once UEFA get a big slice of the finance. But at this moment in time, that's not what we're protesting about. But what we are protesting about is our ability to have a say in the future if that kind of decision is likely to be made again. And that's, again, that's the important aspects of the thing. So you might say, well, if you're so in agreement with the protests, why aren't you going to be there and leading along that way? So I will be honest and say I'm a little bit concerned about it from a personal point of view for a couple of reasons. So you may not know, some people do know, but others, you know, don't really know too much about it if you don't watch my videos. But in February I contracted COVID. And I know there's lots of people out there that say, COVID don't exist, or it's just a cold and all the rest of it. But for me, it was quite difficult. I ended up, you know, very ill with it. I was one of the fortunate ones. I didn't end up going to hospital. Bloody mindedness and kept me out of there to a certain extent. But just as I felt that I was getting over the COVID aspect of it, I ended up with pneumonia. So I ended up with 7 weeks off of work, feeling really rather poorly. At one point I did think that I might not make it out of this. And you might say I'm over exaggerating, but listen, that's just the way I felt at the time. My daughter, my son-in-law and my wife also were affected, and it wasn't a pleasant time. So that's reason number one. I'm a bit concerned about having not had both of my injections. I have had one, so I am fairly lucky, but not having had both of my injections, I'm a little bit concerned about crowds at this moment. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'm a little bit worried about that side of it. The other part of it as well, to a certain extent, and I have to acknowledge this, is that I work for a company who have spent an awful lot of time, money, effort to try to keep going through this pandemic, and we've been really successful. I've spent a lot of time making sure people are safe in the site that I run, and making sure that they are looked after if they do get COVID and so on. And I, you know, the message I always give out to people is around keeping 2 meters, keeping safe, doing the right things and everything else. And I have to consider that me going to a protest where there are lots and lots of people potentially, and not having had both my injections, and it not really being allowed at this moment in time because of government rules, would not look right and would not send the right message to the guys that work for me, would make me look a bit of a hypocrite. And so I think that's also an important aspect from me personally, that I need to send the right message to the people that I'm encouraging to do the right things. So if I'm not doing the right thing, then that's not right. So you know, that's the reasons why I'm not going. But it doesn't mean that I don't support the message that people are hopefully going to give in the right way. So, you know, I'm just wrapping up to say, you know, please, if you're going, be safe, you know, be sensible, don't get irate, don't get dragged into it, into the aspects that the club and the leadership of the club might want you to be able to call you out as thugs and not representative of the club and all those kind of things. Please don't fall into that trap. Make sure that you are clear on what you're asking for and what you want, and look out for each other. But of course, be loud and be proud, and be Tottenham through and through. Up the Spurs.